Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello and welcome to welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. It's our Uncensored podcast that we do 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We stream it live on the Miguel and Holly and the Hits 961 Facebook page and the Miguel and Holly YouTube channel. You can also listen to Miguel and Holly Uncensored anywhere you listen to podcasts from the iHeartRadio app. We also have other podcasts too, like Miguel and Holly Full Show, Queen City Confessions. Basically, wherever you listen to podcasts, just type in Miguel and Holly, and you'll see the whole slew of podcasts that we have. Also, make sure to use the talkback feature. If you want to ask us a question on the iHeartRadio app, just go to Hits 96.1. A little microphone and be like, hey, like this would have been a perfect question on the talkback feature. Hey, why does Kelvin's username, why is it Bussy Killer?
Yeah. Would have been that is a valid question.
Yeah. But it wasn't a question on the talkback feature. It was from somewhere else. Holly, you received this message?
I received this message in my Instagram DMs.
Okay. And what did it say, Holly?
This message, well, know that first off, this lovely gal messaged me about my cockroach problem that I had yesterday that I spoke about on the air.
Right.
So she messaged me about that and then said that, her mornings wouldn't be the same without us. And I was like, thank you so much. Like that really, every time I get a message like that, it hits the same. It's so great. And I love it. And I'm thankful.
Yep.
Well, then she added a BT dubs to the message. And I didn't ask her permission to read this, which is why I'm not saying what her name is, because I don't know if she wants me to read it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I apologize for just blasting out her business
Private.
without having asked. But I thought it was for the greater good.
Right. Yeah.
She said, BT dubs, I'm lame as F and have meant to Google Calvin's Bussy or whatever tag he has that Miguel makes him say every time. I'm only 42 and I have no effing clue what that ish means. Question mark. And I said, oh dear. And then I had to type out what bussy means.
I'm getting red.
Should have thought about that before somebody like me has to explain to somebody like Miss Ma'am exactly what that means.
So by the way, for you listening and watching, we're trying to do a new thing where we're going to take little clips from the podcast that are like funny taken out of context to put on reels.
Reels?
Yeah. This was that moment, by the way. So just mark that down.
Writing it down.
Yeah.
Writing it
Great.
Kelvin Ramirez.
Yes. Miguel, get a can.
What is the
Go ahead.
Listen, it was my Hulu username, and I panicked. I panicked because when you first get the PS5, it's like, what is your username? What is it? You're going to commit to it forever. And so I thought, okay, whatever. I'm going to be the only one who uses this. But the kids these days on PS5, you can connect with other people. And so I thought, okay, well, this will be funny. Not realizing that is my gamer tag.
That's now your tag.
And now it is my, literally, I load up Hogwarts Legacy, and on the bottom, it'll say Bussy Killer.
And you're like, Harry would not approve right now.
No. I feel like Harry would be okay with it. You know who would not be okay with you being a Bussy Killer? Professor McGonagall.
Wow.
No, Minerva.
I feel like Hermione would be like rolling her eyes at me. She'd be like,
Yeah.
what the
Hermione and I have the same viewpoint on this entire
Ron would giggle at it.
Oh, Ron
Ron
is
would-
Yeah.
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Ron thinks it's hilarious.
You know who else would love it, Kelvin?
Who?
Voldemort!
Do I actually go in detail and explain what this is? Like,
Okay,
Do you
not in
mean
detail.
it? No, I don't. I
No,
don't even.
No, Holly, you do not, because you did not choose this as your name publicly.
And I
Lord.
already had to do it once in text. You know what? Actually, I didn't see if she got back to me. I'm gonna be actually really mortified if she just read it and then didn't reply. Like,
She
I'll
just
be
left
so
you on
embarrassed.
red.
what did you respond? Because I'd love to know, actually.
Oh, she hasn't seen it yet. She has not seen it yet. Okay.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Cool.
I think I think, Kelvin, you should explain what it is, and then I want to hear what Holly wrote out what she
already
thinks.
I like
it
that.
out.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
All
Okay.
right, Kelvin.
Oh,
Yes. Wow.
By the way, because we are live on Instagram or on Facebook, you know, like the Miguel and Holly.
I was about to say, this is a lot.
Well, see, but here's the thing: like on the Miguel and Holly and the Facebook and YouTube, like I don't care. Like when you have liked this, you know that we can be really sweet, really helpful, really inspiring, or
Raw, real, full of
yeah,
emotion. You know,
philanthropic.
warm.
Yeah. You know, but you also know that we can sometimes, as the lovely radio god, you know, in our industry, who was over the mighty Kiss FM in LA for years, Ryan Seacrest Boss, who we work with, who he says sometimes some of you radio people can just be nasty.
Yeah, he did. He's like this older gentleman who sort of has this interesting blend of like a Southern and not accent.
Because he lived in LA for like 30 years.
Yeah, it's like almost like surfer Southern. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's
100.
Like, anyway,
So sometimes he'll be like, y'all don't be nasty.
He told Ryan Seacrest, former boss, told us not to be nasty.
Yeah. So I'm always cognizant, but I feel like if you like the Miguel and Holly Facebook, YouTube, you're like, whatever. We know. We got it. We watch this.
Right.
And maybe like that's not your cup of tea. And you're like, I'm just going to navigate
It's
away
fine.
from this for right now.
And I totally encourage that.
Right. Well, we also stream on the Hits 96.1 and a Facebook page, which however many people are on that Facebook page who liked the former morning show, who would never talk about a bussy killer. I'm sorry. You've been warned.
Wait, which one? Oh, that one. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Ace and TJ.
Yeah, that's
They're listeners.
well. Any stragglers that were
different-
listening to them are definitely going to be gone now. So
Yeah. Well, they probably wouldn't even. They probably unliked it when we started, so it's fine.
Yeah. And we're 8 minutes in. I mean, at this point, you're
Right.
sold
You got
on this product.
Kelvin.
Miguel.
What's a bussy?
I call it.
that's the proper pronunciation.
Correct. And so, in the gay world, oof, how can I do this delicately?
Oh god.
In the gay
It's
world, you know,
Where did Miguel go?
Where do we
Miguel
even start?
left. What? Again?
Get over here because I actually need some backup here,
Yeah.
Miguel, because you have had some experiences with bussies. So a bussy is basically kind of the body part of a man that is often used for intercourse.
Oh my god.
And it is a special hug, as you know, intercourse is. And that is what we name the boys' insert area. And so the name derives from pussy.
No, say
I'm
no.
sorry. I just want to apologize to every single innocent Miguel and Holly fan member, you know, for this crude language. But yeah, that's what it is.
And Jason Hull on Facebook said, "Do you need me to call and say it for you?" No, we don't. Holly,
Hey.
Yeah.
how did you describe what a bussy is?
First of all, I want to say this happened at 9:30 last night. Maya's already in bed. After she's in bed on the weeknight, it's kind of like the Wild West for about 40 minutes while I am doing things.
Yeah.
I'm like doing whatever I need to calm down for the night. It's late. I don't know. It feels kind of like that Twilight area zone, whatever. So she asked the question that I had read you. I replied with 2 crying laughing faces and a hand, like a face palm emoji.
Yep.
As one does. And I said, Lord, get ready. So in the gay community.
There we go. Just how I started. Yeah.
A lot. Well, and I said a lot of gays, but I would probably amend that now to say some gays. But in the message, I said a lot of gays because I don't know. It was late. Whatever. Forgive me. In the gay community, a lot of gays refer to their BH as their P, but call it bussy as in butt P. I literally cannot with them. So Kelvin gotta be nasty. Crying laughing face. Crying laughing face. Was that not accurate?
That was accurate. That was accurate, and it was beautiful, to say the least. I think that is the best way to describe it.
Succinct.
Correct.
Word economy.
Correct. Yes. Oh, Jason says Holly explained it better. And I mean, she would.
I'm good with words.
Honest. I didn't know you were good with
all of the words. I'm good at all the words. Especially in text. Like if you ask me to, and this is where, this is not your fault, Kelvin. If I'm much better in the written word if I'm going to put something succinctly together and type it out. Like if you would just, well, no, if you would ask me to, if Miguel had asked me to just, stand alone and do it, stand and deliver, it might not have been that poetic.
Got it.
It's Miguel and Holly.
The Queen City's new morning show.
On Hits 96.1.
So Trump was arraigned yesterday.
I know.
I saw that. I saw that.
Crazy.
And yet he gets to go home.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it happens to a lot of people. I mean, that's not abnormal.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You know what's funny?
What's funny?
You know what's funny is like I talk about gay sex with, my husband, my friends. We joke about it. There's all sorts of just jokes and memes and stuff. But for some reason, when there are straight people around or the possibility of straight people being around, I get very awkward.
Is that why you disappeared from camera for a while just now?
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Now, and mind you, in our radio careers, Holly, we have had so many discussions about sex. We've had lots of sex topics. Remember back in the early aughts when you, me, Kramer, Mandy watched a listener's sex tape one time and judged it.
Yeah. Sometimes I really do look back on those early Kramer days and think, what in the actual F did we think we were doing?
Yeah. We're going to have to do some sort of reunion show at some point.
I agree. And then, because, I look at my Facebook memories sometimes, and at one point during our tenure with Kramer, he would be like, you have to post on your social media every day, like the question that we need listeners to answer the next day. And so I always come across these, and I'm like the audacity of me, like putting out some of these topics on my Facebook for the public.
It would be in all caps, tell us, :
Yes.
How many times have you?
I'm gonna just go pull up today's, because any given day probably has a Kramer memory. And I think I saw one today. Let me see if I do. Tell us, all caps. Also in all caps, adults who don't want kids.
Oh.
Why not? What's your reason? Question mark.
And from what year was that?
2011. Like, how effing rude. Like, any adult that's choosing to go childless, like, owes me. Like, it's just so bold. It's like, tell us. Adults who don't want kids, why not? What's your reason? Like, what? Well, it was so accusatory, but that's how the show was. I don't know.
Somehow, like, even some of the takes we would take, like, I think I've mentioned this before, where I said at one point, and I was probably 23, I was like, women over the age of like 30 should dye their hair or something like that. Yeah. And one of my friend's moms, like, every year on her birthday, she's like, can I still not dye my hair? Am I too old now? And I'm like, I'm sorry.
I know. Sorry. It was a different time. It was a different time. So I apologize for that.
Some topics just stay with people.
Yeah. But anyway, so we've talked about straight sex a lot over the past 15 years of us doing radio together, but literally it is in the FCC guidelines that you cannot talk about gay stuff. Yeah. Like, you literally can't. I mean, when it comes to intercourse or matters like that.
Right.
And so we never talk about it. And so whenever, as it's all about community standards, blah, 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 and being on the radio. And like, things have changed, and, like, things can be a little bit more, loose, but I'm still like, I can't. It makes me so awkward. But I did have this random memory, Holly. I was texting with Kramer the other day.
Yeah.
And do you remember years ago, I procured an adult DVD that had someone that I knew on it. They were performing in this adult gay porn. And we played audio from it on the show in Panama City.
We did?
Young Cops 2.
No,
good Lord.
I don't remember. I'm so sorry. Like, that's one of those ones that,
like, I don't even remember if it was like a game, like, real movie or porn. Like, who knows? Maybe just was like, here's what Miguel found. Let's play gay porn, like, at 6:50. Like, I don't know.
No,
like,
I don't remember. I don't remember, but I absolutely believe it. Like, that's very on brand. I just don't recall that particular. Why?
Yeah. Well, no, just because I was texting with Kramer and I was like, hey, guess what?
Remembered it.
And he was like, Young Cops 2. And like, it just brought back all these memories. And I was like, first off, how do you remember that?
How does he remember that? I don't have any recollection of that. But then again, my memory is probably the worst. I don't know if I dissociated or I just had to shove some memories into the lost pit of memories just to make room for like my child's date of birth. I don't know.
Delete a few to get some new ones.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember Maya's birthday for a very long time. It was hard.
August 17th.
Yes. I know it now, but like when she was first born, it was hard because it was seemingly random numbers. And like, I was like, I would always confuse it because 16 is like a good even number. 8 goes into 16. That makes sense to me. 8, 16 is one of my favorite numbers. But 17, I was like, I would never remember it. And every time like the doctor's office would ask me, I'd be like, 8, and I would switch the year and the date and I got it now though.
Wow.
I sometimes mess up Abe's like actual full name because everyone always goes Abraham, but his real name is Abram.
I know. I love Abram. I wish I could call him Abram, but it's not for me to do. So I just
you can do it. You can call him Abram.
That's fine. I love it.
That's what I do when I'm like Abram.
I know. I love it. I love Abram. And Maya's always like, it's not Abraham. I'm like, no. It's Abram.
Abram.
I just love it. It's so
I call him something else.
Dignified.
What do you call him, Bussy Killer?
Bitch. Abe he's been getting real spicy with me lately.
That's the true sign that he really likes you. That's how those northern boys show their affection.
God damn. He likes me a lot then. Damn.
He loves picking on Kelvin. Like, he'll go in. Because Kelvin also gives it too. So don't act like you're innocent.
Kelvin is a sassy bitch.
But I don't start it, and that's the difference.
Well, he'll always start it.
He starts it.
Yeah. Well, you probably started it off in the beginning, and then he just goes in all the time.
I guess.
It's so funny to watch the two of them all go back and forth. But yeah, so there's that.
What were we
Yeah.
supposed to talk about today? It has
Yeah,
been
it
20
was-
minutes of absolute nonsense.
It was 12 minutes of bussy talk.
Save that. Don't. So Kelvin, there was something else that you said that you wanted to chat about today on the podcast. That you said something with your tax or something.
Oh my God. My accountant yesterday, around this time, I'm texting him. I haven't gotten my refund in months. And I'm one of the first people to do it. I just like to get it out of the way. Plus, I
Yeah.
want my money. So the past few years, I have received a return. And
Yeah.
before this new accountant came in, I wasn't. And when I got with him, it was great because he kind of was like, hey, this is what you need to do. Or like this, when he was filing all my things, it all made sense. And I was starting to get returns again. And I was like, okay, this is great. Last year, I made the most money I ever have in my whole career. And I thought to myself, okay, cool. Like I'm probably going to get some sort of return this year. And as you know, because we are getting our paychecks, at least last year for me, I got a part of it from Florida because I worked up until June. And then from July and on, I was in North Carolina. And so, oh God, like I have to do this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Now you owe state income tax?
Yes. I don't know what that means. I will never know what that means. Maybe one day I will.
It means you owe money to the state, but that's okay.
Yes. But me thinking, okay, I made a lot. I should be fine. He tells me I'll make 1,300 and some change as my return and like $50 from Florida. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't care. As long as I get the 1,300. It's been months. I haven't gotten it. I've been checking up on him time and time and time. And he's like, I'll call the offices, whatever. Finally, I'm like, hey, I'm trying to check it up on my own, but it keeps telling me that my number amount of what I'm getting is wrong. Because, you know, when you look where my refund is, you have to type in the correct number. Can you let me know how much I'm getting back? He goes, $9.
Oh.
And I go, no, that's not what you said. You said that I would be either getting $13.16 or $13.25. He goes, no, you already got your return. You got the $56 and you got the $9 from North Carolina. And I go, what? And we went back and forth. And I was like sending him screenshots. And I was like, that's not what you said. And if you would have communicated that better, I would have understood. And I was just so annoyed. But I like quickly just like collected myself because I was like, the money was never mine. So why am I going to get mad? I did buy a PS5 thinking I was going to pay a portion of it with it, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Fast forward, I get some calls from work here and they're like, hey, we have some remotes. And for those who don't know, remotes are those events that you go to for 2 hours and we get to promote the business so people can come and enjoy what we're promoting.
Yeah.
And I literally get a call from within 30 minutes of just finding all this out. I'm angry. I'm pissed. And they're like, hey, we have a few remotes that are available for you if you'd like. Would you like to do some this weekend? And I was like, bitch, yes. Yes.
Okay.
And long story short, I know this is going on very long, but a lot of times these things happen to me. I'll get extra boost of money and then I have a stupid expense. It just always happens to me. And I always get very in my feelings about it. This was the first time where, okay, something didn't really work out. And I'm now getting money later on. And then I also reflected that the same outcome was the same, whether I was going to get an extra money and then a charge, or if I was getting the charge first and then the extra money.
Right.
The result was the same. And I just thought to myself, I don't need to be so harsh and so negative about situations in whatever order it comes out, because whatever the result is going to be, it's going to be fine.
Right.
And that was just like a big learning lesson.
You're like the living embodiment of that TikTok trend that went real hot. That's like, I'm so lucky. Everything always works out for me.
Yes.
Because it does.
I've always felt that way about Oscar, my fiance, because everything always ends up fucking working out for him. And I'll be like funny jealous. But in reality, I'm like, bitch, I wish that was me.
Oh, yeah.
But no, this was one of those situations where like, oh, it lucked out and it's fine. And it's kind of like a similar situation I've been, just it was reversed.
Yeah.
I
So,
feel like that
deep breath.
happens. Yeah. I mean, and it's one of those things where it's like, it's so hard as we are becoming more cognizant about people's situations and how we share ours, because there are some people that will just be like, I always get shit on no matter what I do, no matter how much I look up, no matter what I do. And, you know, the old Miguel, who was a big, and still to a certain degree, because it turned my life around, was The Secret, the law of attraction of if you manifest it, if you believe it, if you claim it, as they would say in the church, then it will be yours. But like for some reason, the universe doesn't give people those things, but it may come in a different way. But if you have someone who's dealing with like addiction, or someone who just hasn't been able to, you know, get out of a really bad situation that they've been in for a long time.
Or like, what if they're in like an abusive marriage or something?
Right. And that can be a real slap in the face. And so it's like, it's kind of hard to know, you know, how to handle when people say stuff like that, because I was one of those people. Because for me, when I was in a very, very dark spot after college, and I just felt like I was drowning, like I did not have enough money to pay rent. I did not have enough money to eat, to put gas in my car, to pay the bills that I had. And so when a coworker gave me the book, The Secret, bitch, I soaked it up. And I remember like the first week because like the whole point of it, and this has been 16 years now since I've read it. And so I may be getting some of it wrong because it's been so long. But I remember that like at the time, it was like anytime you have a negative thought, you have to try to like turn it around and turn it into a positive while you're also manifesting what you want. And I remember the first week I did that, I was like exhausted because every time when I would, you know, we would be this is when I lived in Savannah, someone would be like, oh, we're going out for drinks tonight. Miguel, would you want to come? And I would be like, no, I can't make it. And in my head, I'd be like, must be nice. Y'all got paid to go have drinks. I ain't got no money, bitch. But then I'd be like, one day that will be me. I'll be able to go have drinks, and maybe I can even buy someone a drink at one time, you know?
Right.
Oh, that's right. I've
And
been on the receiving end of that one.
So having to, though, like head off all of those thoughts, that's a lot of mental work to do that. And so for a long time, because when I started to do that, things did start to change for me. I was a big believer. So anytime someone was in a bad situation, I'd be like, have you heard about The Secret? Have you ever heard about the law of attraction?
I'm pretty sure. I was like, what is it? This was clearly before I had a whole spiritual awakening. I was like, what is this nonsense? You can think about that version of Holly O'Connor. I was like, what?
Like, what craziness are you talking about?
It's like, this sounds like a lot of mumbo jumbo to me.
And I was like, no, because I felt like that's what led me to be able to move to Panama City and to move in with you and to start, you know, the journey that we've continued on with. But like my views have changed on that a little bit because I feel like that was my story, but that's not everyone's story.
Yeah, everyone's story is different, and they might find comfort or help in different things.
Right. And so it's really hard because, I mean, my husband, Abe, he gets like when I try to talk about the law of attraction and stuff like that, he's like, what in the actual bullshit are you talking about?
And he's a realist.
He is.
You know,
I'm like,
strong realist.
That's not for him. Like, that is not for him. Like, there is something else for him to sort of, you know, bring himself. Like, sometimes it's just him, like, having to think through situations and being like, all right, well, this situation sucked and I'm going to be mad about it. But then that door is closed and let's move on to the next one, you know? So
people do it in different ways. And if the way that Miguel was talking about works for you, then more power to you. But if you've got something else that works for you that's different, that's good. Like, it's hard. It's hard to, I guess it's hard to talk about all this stuff in general, because I'm reminded also again of the podcast from Friday that we talked about Monday, where you just have different viewpoints on things. And, you know, however it works for you is right for you.
Right. Most definitely. All right.
Okay. Well,
I love the
one thing
polarization of this podcast.
The what?
Yes, the polarization of this podcast. I will say this on the tail end of your thing about The Secret and whatnot, is that and I need to do it. I think I might do it. I might try to do it today. I am a believer in like all of that now. So like I'm in that. Like I'm in a lot of the where are you vibrating? Are you vibrating at your highest frequency to attract good things to you, or are you vibrating in low dimensional energy, those low vibrational things like fear and anger and mistrust, and like are you vibrating in there and therefore calling yourself, more of that stuff? Or are you trying to, and there's such a thing as toxic positivity. Like we're not going to turn around every situation. Some situations are just crappy.
Right.
But overall, are we trying to look for, I guess it comes down to gratitude. Are we trying to look for things that we are grateful for that we do have and build on that? Having said that, I really think there's something to vision boards. I really do. Because the one and only time that I did a vision board, I'll be danged, everything on that vision board ultimately did happen. It did. It did. I was shocked. I just did it. I was in a very dark place. And it's actually a bizarre story, quickly, how the vision board came to be. Because I have to think how this worked exactly. I wasn't in therapy yet. In fact, I had just I think I was pretty newly divorced. Like the divorce had just gone through, and it was like on the precipice of like 2015 into 2016. And I was working just very sporadically with Angela, who used to be our morning show consultant, and then also started doing life coaching. And so in order to get through the divorce, I needed something. I didn't know how to do therapy. I knew Angela though, and I knew she was a life coach. So I had a couple of different sessions with Angela. And on one of our last sessions, she's like, you should really do a vision board about what you want your new chapter of life to look like. And I was like, that sounds awesome. I totally will do a vision board. Hanging up the phone thinking I'm absolutely never going to do it. It's in theory, yes. But then like what? You have to go get a cork board? Like you have to go get stuff to do it? Like I'm going to sit is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that conversation happened. She's like, go do a vision board. I was like, okay. And in my head, I'm like, I would like to, but I don't know when that's all going to happen. Well, obviously all my friends knew that I was like, newly divorced and everything. And in the mail, like a week later, I got a cork board and cute little papers from my high school best friend, Katie. And I forgot about this until this moment. She sent me, and I didn't tell her about the vision board. She was like, hey, I saw this thing about vision boards, and I really think you should do one here. And I was like, okay, universe. All right. I see what you did here. So I got that thing. I made it sparkly with sparkly pens and little papers. Everything I wrote on that vision board happened. One of the things I wrote on that vision board was, and I don't even think Miguel knew how strongly I wanted this at the time, but I wrote, the Miguel show becomes Miguel and Holly in the morning. And eventually now I'm not saying it all happened like boom, boom, boom.
Right.
In fact, for all of the things to happen, it took in total probably about a year and a half. About 18 months in, all the things had happened. And I mean, every last one of them. And you have to be careful what you wish for.
You got to be able to handle it. You got to be able to receive it.
You need to be able to receive it. And you can't just willy-nilly go in saying things like, I made such a very narrow and specific thing about a partner, like a life partner that I was looking for. And I made it kind of like flowery. And I'm like, I've always been a bit of a wordsmith. And so I made sure I made it like extra specific. And like, I almost wish it hadn't been that specific because I got it. And I was like, I didn't even know. Like one of the final lines on what I was looking for in a life partner was to help each other heal. I didn't think I really needed healing. Why did I even write that? I was like, well, that's stupid. I don't need that in a life partner. But did I find a life partner that actually needed healing and I needed to be healed as well? Yes. And that healing was so difficult. But I wrote it down and that's what I got. So like, I'm just saying vision boards.
And I think
might be something to it.
And I'm 100%. I've been on the vision board game for a long time. And I think that even if you don't believe in the law of attraction or manifesting, I still think that it's like, think of it as like if you want to write a goal on like I see some people will put like, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to be healthy. And so every day, I have a little sticky note on my bathroom wall that says, go do a 30-minute walk every day just to remind yourself that, or maybe you make it your lock screen, on your phone just to remind you
because
of.
you're seeing it daily. You're seeing your goals. Why do you think companies make you write goals? Like it's proven. Like you see what you want to do and what you need to do, and you're taking steps daily toward it. So however you want to believe that it works, I think it's been shown that it really does work.
And I think for some people too, who sort of just exist, like you just go through life and you go to work, you come home, or you pick up your kids and you're just going through the motions. I think sitting down, if you have the time, or even if you're just driving and just saying, what do I want with my life? What do you want? Like, what does that look like? Do you know what 10 years from now looks like? Do you want to have a different job? Do you want to have a different spouse? Do you want to, run a marathon? Do you want to go on a new fitness journey? Do you want to eat better? But like, I feel like if some of us started to ask ourselves these questions, you could find a little bit more meaning out of life if you started to really start to dig down into yourself and try to figure out what it is that you want with life. Even if it's like, you know what? I really want to like help, because of all the political stuff that's been going on. And you're like, I'm feeling helpless and I'm feeling down and I'm feeling like I'm in the muck. Well, put that on a vision board. Like, I want to do something. Maybe I want to I don't have any money, but maybe my goal is to save up, maybe to skip something and be able to donate $50 to my candidate of my choice, or volunteer, just think about those things that you want in your life to make it better, because I feel like so many of us just go through the motions. And I just literally had this realization the other day again with myself, because I was doing a Peloton ride and they have this Beyonce series, and there's this she's like the lead instructor for Peloton. Her name is Robin, and she's so good at, it's so weird doing Peloton, because I remember seeing ads for it and I thought it was so stupid to just be like sitting on a bike in your house by yourself, and this person's like what we do to you watching right now, but it's live. And I was like, oh, that just seems so stupid. But if I tell you the amount of times I have been in the middle of a ride and like the inspirational words they're saying about, and they do it where it's general enough where it speaks to you. And for me in that moment, I'm like, that's right, Cody Rigsby.
Yes.
That's right, Robin. I'm gonna hold my crown up, girl. I got all them jewels. I know, bitch. I know. But it
Cody be saying crazy shit though sometimes.
Girl,
go suck that. That's I feel like that's what he says.
He's not that, but sometimes Cody has what's that phrase? Unpopular opinions, or very strong opinions about stuff. And as we're riding, and he'll be like, one day he was like, girl, I wasn't about that Celine Dion. She was a little corny. I was like, don't make me hit the brake on this bike.
Like they paying you to ride this bike. They're not paying you for your unpopular opinions.
But then he was like, but then a friend heard me mention this and he took me to a Celine Dion show in Vegas in my life.
Oh, must be nice.
And I was like, right, rich. I was like, bitch. But anyway, so I was doing this Beyonce ride, and the things that Robin were talking about really resonated with me. And I'm like, wow, like when I was in high school and college and even in my early 20s, on my list of possible things that I could do was to be president, was to own a magazine, and to own a radio station. That's how big my goals were. That's how big my imagination was. And now it's so small. I'm like, girl, we love our company, but they've had some layoffs that have been very tough. I'm like, can we make it to Friday?
Yeah.
That's on the list.
Right.
That's on the list.
To get this bathroom remodeled, please just.
Well, I wanted to add on to what you were saying. First of all, I have done a list before and it has come true. I didn't necessarily see it every day, which I probably should have, but I did write a few things on there like move out, get my full-time job in radio, win an Emmy, all these things. And I remember specifically the first time I did it, I did it after years later, and I was like, I don't want to dream too hard. I don't want to do anything too crazy. I just want to write things that I can easily attain. And most of them didn't come true until the year after I wrote down actual things that I was like, I don't care. I'm going to write whatever I want. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it eventually will. And I wrote things like leave Miami. I wrote things like I manifested Oscar. I wrote down all the things that I wanted in a man, and I got that. Losing weight, which I've done. And so these were all things that I was like, no, maybe lose like 5 pounds, 10 pounds. And but the minute that I just accepted what I wanted and I'm going to write down, I don't care how scary it may be. I think those manifest much.
Well, because
more
you're not putting
successfully.
limits on it. It's like, how,
Correct.
honestly, who do you think you are to limit the universe?
Correct.
Like, what are you doing? Like, that the universe is like, well, here's what I had, but apparently you think you know better. So
Right.
you have to be open to the widest possibilities. And like, goes back to what Miguel was saying about what being ready to receive it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you're not ready to receive it, how can you get it? If you
Right.
don't think it's possible, really, if you don't really think it's possible,
Right.
then what would you do if it happened? Like,
Right.
you wouldn't be prepared.
Right.
So you have to be open to all those possibilities of it actually happening. If you're ready, you step into that power.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do the things to prepare for it too. Like, you can't just be like, I want to be a movie actor. I want to be an actor. I want to be on stage. And then that's it. Like, maybe it's like, all right, let's go take some acting classes somewhere, or maybe go to a local theater and see if you can volunteer and do that and just start the process. Like, you have to also make steps towards it as well.
Right.
So you can be able to receive that. Because it's not just gonna, nothing on my dream board has ever just come out of thin air.
Yeah.
Like, it was
true.
something, and I'm sure we've used this analogy a lot from our old life coach, Angela. But one of the things that she said to me way back in 2011 that has always stuck with me is that you never make any seismic shifts. Because think about a big cruise ship. They just can't turn a hard left or a turn right.
No.
They have to make little turns here and there, here and there. So let's say your dream is to lose 50 pounds, by a certain point, or just because you want to be healthier. Well, you're not just going to drop 50 pounds in 2 months, but you're like, you know what? Today, I'm not going to eat fast food. That's a
Just
little
today.
turn. Just today.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
going to
a-
think about tomorrow.
That's a tiny turn in the right direction instead of the wrong direction.
Correct.
Right. Like, I want to make more money. You know what? I'm going to go sit in my boss's office and just talk more about the company, or whatever that looks like. But like, making little tiny things towards those big goals that you have so you can get there.
Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to show you, and I'm sorry for you listening. You'll have to go watch it on YouTube or Facebook.
Okay.
My dream board that every morning, I don't think I've ever talked about this. Every morning when I get ready, I walk across the room after I'm like showered and got my clothes on, and I go get my watch, my wedding ring, and my bracelet. And as I'm putting my watch and my bracelet, my ring on, I look at my vision board every single morning. And I bought this years ago. It's a Harry Potter vision, or it's a cork board, pin board
Mhm.
from the Teen Pottery Barn collection that
Because
came
they
out.
have it. They have Harry Potter stuff.
They do. So I put it on a payment plan a few years ago. And I bought it specifically to be my vision board. So even when we moved to North Carolina, like, that didn't even go on the moving truck. That came in my car, because like, I hold that thing so sacred that like, those are all of my goals that I'm always working with. So like, it can be something elaborate like this, or there was years ago when Holly, remember you made me a vision bucket.
Yeah. It was a box. I was
Mhm.
excited. We were unemployed. I was like, I'm going to get a bunch of crafts from Hobby Lobby and a box, and I'm going to like craft you a box. And I did.
Mm-hmm.
And Miguel had all the things in the box. It's good. You could do whatever you want to. Do
Right.
what you want.
Even just making a note on your phone. And like I said,
Mhm.
making it a lock screen. It's as simple. It can be elaborate like that, the Harry Potter, or just making it your lock screen on your phone or whatever phone you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be something elaborate, because we all want you to be successful and fulfilled
Yes.
in your life.
Well, how it started was not how it ended.
When I tell you we run the gamut, did I not say that at the beginning of this
It's
podcast?
an inclusive show here.
It sure is.
Got some good juicy little tidbits out of this one.
Amen. All right.
Well, let's go back to how we started.
Great.
Producer Kelvin, what's all your social media?
At Kelvin Live, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and you can find me on PlayStation. Bussy
Oh, God.
Killer. And you know what? Embrace it. Tell your friends that you know. You say, I know this hip little word.
This hip
Yeah, exactly. Now you can just use it at your preference.
Exactly.
However you want to use it.
Probably just don't say it in a meeting. Being like, you know what? I'm the Bussy Killer for
Not
this project.
Do not share in mixed company.
No.
Right.
That's for your friends.
But with you gays, they'll die. They'll love it.
Holly, what's all your social media?
Radio Holly on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm doing this new thing. I don't know what it is. I'm starting to tell stories about my college times because I have some really crazy college stories. I do it like once a week on my TikTok. I think I'm going to do another one this evening. So we'll see.
Ooh, I need to go look at these.
There's only 2. Don't get crazy. But
Ooh.
it's just, again, little things. Just I'm trying to, after our social media intervention, I'm just trying to do better.
Little
that's one of my
turns.
things.
Little turns. Mine is Miguel Fuller. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Be Real, which is literally becoming my new favorite thing. Also, like I'd mentioned, Peloton. If you're on there, I want to like in the next couple of weeks, probably after our spring break, I want to schedule like a ride because I was playing with some of it.
Yeah.
And I can schedule it to where if you want to be a part of it, we can all do it together and be on the leaderboard.
Listen, that's really cool. I don't have a Peloton, but that's a cool thing. You should do
It is. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to organize something unofficially. So follow me there, Miguel Fuller, on all the social media platforms. And we will be back here on Friday. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to